Nice to see you, Greta. Thank you.
Ken, I can't help but notice what's over your right shoulder. Baylor. What's this all about? Well, actually, I know what it's about, but you tell us.
Well, the good folks at Baylor have come to a very questionable judgment, but I'm the beneficiary of it, that I should become the 14th president of this great university in my native state. Founded in 1845, Baylor has a very rich and storied tradition, so I'm very proud to have been asked by the Board of Regents to serve as its next president.
Well, I know it's very exciting. I know it's a big job, but I can't help but think, Malibu? You're giving up Malibu?
Well, Malibu is a great place, and Pepperdine is a wonderful place. But Greta, as you may know, I'm a native Texan. In fact, I'm a fifth-generation Texan, and my ancestors on my father's side settled from the great state of Illinois about 100 miles from here in 1848. So the roots run very deep here in this great state, and it's just such a great university that I was honored to be called to serve. And besides, we have the Brazos River here.
And indeed. So what do you think is the difference in the job between Dean of Pepperdine Law School and President of Baylor? What's going to be, besides the geographical major difference, what's the difference?
Well, the university, of course, is a very large and complex institution. It does have a very fine law school and other professional schools, but it's also a research university with a high level of research activity, as well as a very large College of Arts and Sciences. So it's a huge university, about 14,000 students. So that's many more than we have at Pepperdine University, so it's very large, very complex. And so it's going to take me a while, obviously, even to understand the full range of the activities here, but I'm going to work hard and try to bring a lot of energy, and hopefully that energy will be reciprocated by the 140,000 alumni around the world, living alumni. Baylor has a very great brand, certainly here in the Southwest, but really beyond, and so I hope to be able to tell the Baylor story, which is a great and unfolding story of excellence and humanity.
And it'd be nice if each one of those 140,000 sent in $20 tonight to the Alumni Fund just to get you started. It'd be a good start.
Oh, you are great. You are great. But could you add a zero to the 20? Yeah. But we'll take 20 from 144,000. No, you're absolutely right. Higher education has so many challenges, and private higher education has a special challenge of ever-rising tuition costs. We try to keep those tuition costs down, but it's very expensive. So that's one of the ways that alumni and friends can help. Their alma maters. Help your alma mater by contributing and helping students, especially in this kind of economy, where students are just not able to do the kinds of things that we were able to do. Greta, even though we may have thought, oh goodness, I've got to go get a college loan. I had college loans. I had loans in law school. But it's a very tough environment now, and we need to be very mindful, and that's obviously a huge responsibility of the university servant leaders, to get out there and work hard.
All right, on this day, this big announcement at Baylor University, it's also the announcement of Death of American Virtue, a book that's come out of the investigation of President Clinton. You have been quoted as saying that if you saw President Clinton, that you would say you were sorry. Explain that, because explain what you meant by that.
Oh, well, I mean that in the sense that I'm just very much regret that the entire episode happened, and what American of goodwill wanted this episode to happen. No one did. So obviously I regret that as a citizen who loves his country. Obviously it brought great pain to a lot of people, and it was unpleasant for everyone involved in the investigation. But Janet Reno, the then Attorney General of the United States, made a determination, and I think it was the correct legal determination, that this matter, the Lewinsky phase of the investigation, as unhappy and as unpleasant as it was, had to be investigated, and that's what we did. But of course, who wanted this to happen to our country?
In looking back, I mean, as lawyers often look back, what are what are your regrets from it, and what are you proud about it?
Well, I'm very proud that the investigation was conducted with honor and integrity. Obviously, it has its detractors, and Ken Gormley, who's the author of this book, is a very thoughtful man. He's the interim dean of the Duquesne Law School. in Pittsburgh. I hold Ken in the highest regard, and he has some pretty tough criticisms, and I think everyone should accept criticisms of their service, especially as a prosecutor, because you well know, Greta, prosecutors have power and they should be called to account for that power. But that having been said, and mindful of the criticisms, I think that the investigation was conducted with honor and with integrity. I wish it hadn't taken so long, and that's one of the criticisms that Ken Gormley lays at my feet, that the investigation took too long. But we weren't dragging our feet, but it did take longer than I certainly would have wanted, and certainly that the country deserved.
You know, it was so chaotic. When I look back and I think of, like, you know, how all consumed we all were, it was enormously chaotic, wasn't it?
It was just horribly chaotic. You're so right. And the entire process of the grand jury process with, as you'll recall, Greta, because you covered it, day in and day out, and witnesses would come out of the third floor grand jury room, and there they would meet the press. Yet the grand jury process, of course, is supposed to be confidential. The prosecutors, as you well know, are duty-bound to maintain confidentiality. In fact, it's a crime to breach that confidentiality. But then, of course, because of the concerns about confidentiality, the court wisely said to the press, no offense, but you need to get out of the third floor. And so famously or infamously, Monica Beach was established outside the courthouse. And this just went on day after day. And that's one of the great sorrows for the entire matter, that, again, Ken Gormley was a very, very fine person and a great historian, as well as a great lawyer and a wonderful dean of a very fine law school, criticizes. And I said, yeah, I wish it hadn't taken so long. And I have the thoughts about how it could have been completed a bit more rapidly, but that's a closed chapter in our history. But I think Ken Gormley has added a valuable set of insights to the history, as unpleasant as it was.
You know what's sort of interesting, though, is that in spite of all of it, everyone has emerged from it. You know, people haven't, we've put it behind us. People have succeeded on so many fronts. I mean, you've had enormous success. President Clinton has had enormous success. Everyone's come through it. It was ugly, but we came through it.
Exactly right. It's part of the greatness of the country. You're not sent out into exile or what have you. And President Clinton, of course, is serving the country magnificently. The work of the Clinton Foundation, his leadership in Haiti, obviously. The then First Lady is an extremely able and energetic Secretary of State. And I'm looking forward to being the next president of Baylor University and honored to serve at Pepperdine University for these few years.
And let me remind those Baylor alumni, send your checks now. Help Ken get that first year really going. Help those students and help that university. Ken, thank you, and good luck in your new job.
Thank you. Come see us in Central Texas. Come see us in Waco.
I will. Invite me and I will. I'll come down there.
Great. Well, you've got a deal. You're warmly welcome. Thanks, Greta.